students. So in the last lecture we have discussed about what is hybridization, conditions of hybridizations and the characteristics of hybridization, and then we have started with the types of hybridization. So far we have discussed sp, sp2 and sp3 hybridization. So continuing, let's start with sp3 hybridization. Geometry of phosphorus pentafluoride PF5. So that means sp3d means 1s, 3p and 1d orbitals mixing occurs, and phosphorus represented as capital P, Z is equal to 15 atomic number, and the configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3, and as you know we will always take the outer electronic configuration, the valence shell, which is 3s2, 3p3. It means in the ground state phosphorus has filled 3s orbital and there are 3 electrons in the 3p, 1 each orbital. In the excited state, so because there are 5 phosphorus fluorine atoms that have to combine, so that means 1 electron from the 3s orbital will unpair and it will be promoted to the 3d orbitals. Now there are 5 unpaired electrons, right? Now these orbitals, they hybridized to give sp3 hybridization, and each of the sp3 hybrid orbital, it then overlaps with fluorine, 2p orbital of fluorine, forming phosphorus pf bonds. Now d orbital, you know that there are 5 types of d orbitals: dx square minus y square, dz square, dxy, dyz and dxz. Now which d orbital participate in sp3 hybridization? It is 3z square. So dz square participate in the sp3 hybridization. The interesting thing is all pf bonds, they are not equivalent. Now the geometry form is trigonal bipyramidal geometry. I have marked here E for the equatorial bonds and A for the axial bonds. So these 2 types of bond, they are formed. Now what are these? The equatorial bonds, they are directed towards the corners of the equilateral triangle. This is the equilateral triangle and they are forming an angle of 120 degree, and these are planar in nature. Okay, and then another one are the axial bonds. 2 axial bonds, they are oriented at right angles to the plane of the first set of orbitals. Axial bonds, you can see they are longer, they are slightly longer than equatorial bonds. The PF axial bond length is 2.19, it is 2.19 angstrom, and that of the equatorial is 2.04 angstrom. Why this is so? The axial bonds, they experience because greater repulsion. The axial bonds experience greater repulsion from other bonds than the equatorial bond. The electron pair repulsions, they decrease very sharply with increase in bond angle, so that the repulsions between bond pairs of electrons where the bond angle is greater than 100, they are generally neglected. So if we see the bond pair of electrons in the axial bond, in case of the axial bond, there are 3 bond pair repulsions. There are 3 bond pair with axial, because the 3 axial bonds, so they will experience 3 bond pair repulsions. On the other hand, if we talk about the equatorial bonds, there are only 2 bond pair repulsions. So that means repulsions in case of axial are more than that of the equatorial. That is why to stabilize they become longer, right? So that is why they are longer. Okay, and another thing is PF5. So you can see now, because 2 bonds are longer, 3 are shorter, so that means they have unsymmetrical structure. So unsymmetrical structure, they are less stable. That is why PF5 is very reactive molecule. Now the other examples of such following such hybridization and trigonal bipyramidal geometry is PCl5, and one more is antimony pentachloride, right? Next we move to sp3d2 hybridization. Geometry of sulfur hexafluoride SF6. Central atom is sulfur, atomic number is 16, and the outer electronic configuration is 3s2, 3p3. So means in px there are 2, py1, pz it is 1. So sulfur in the ground state, so there are 2 electrons in S, 2 in P, and Py, Pz there is 1 1. Now to account for the, here there are 6 fluorine, it has to form bonds with 6 fluorines. So for that, 1 electron from 3s and 1 electron from 3p, both they get unpaired and they promoted to 3d. Now these SF6, they have now sp3d2 hybrid orbitals. These sp3d2 hybrid orbitals, the 6 3p2 hybrid orbitals, they then form bonds with the 6 fluorine atoms and resulting in sp3d2 hybridization. The geometry is octahedral, right? Here the geometry which is formed here is the octahedral. The 6 hybrid orbitals are now directed towards the 6 corners of the regular octahedron. So each of these 6 sp3d2 hybrid orbitals, how they are formed? By overlapping with half-filled p orbital of each fluorine atom. Another molecule which gives such kind of geometry is tellurium hexafluoride. It also has octahedral geometry. Now d orbitals, here there are 2 d orbitals which are involved in hybridization, and these are dx square minus y square and dz square. Next is sp3d3 hybridization, geometry of iodine heptafluoride. It is an interhalogen compound. Central atom is iodine, atomic number 53, and outer electronic configuration in the ground state is 5s2, 5px2, py2 and pz. So on excitation, what will happen? There is promotion of 1 electron from 5s, 1 electron from 5px and py as well, so that we have 7. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 orbitals. Now these hybridize to form sp3d3 hybrid orbitals, and each of these hybrid orbitals, it then overlap with half-filled 2p orbital of each fluorine atom to form IF7 molecule, and the resulting geometry will be pentagonal bipyramidal geometry. Now here again, all the 7 bonds, they are not equal. Now there are 5 bonds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are at the vertices of a regular pentagon. They are making an angle of 72 degree, and then there are 2 which are at right angles, means forming an angle of 90 degree, right? So this is how we can explain the hybridizations. Now you have observed that all the above examples, in all the cases we have observed that all the electron pairs, they are bonded, right? So their geometry and bond angles are exactly the same as expected according to the VSEPR theory, right? So this is all for today. Thank you.